So what they're going to do is you have to meet those requirements on their website. Are you laughing at me, bro?
I'm laughing at both of them because we both sitting here like, what is that word?
What's the word?
Welcome to Charlotte Podcast.Studio, where we explore the ins and outs of podcasting. My name is Tae. I'm the studio manager here at Charlotte Podcast.Studio.
And I'm Shamar, Tae's trusty sidekick. What's happening?
So the thing we're going to cover today is the essential topic of podcast hosting. I want to make sure I word it right because I be slipping up on my words sometimes. So it doesn't matter if you're new or if you've been doing this and you just need help with optimizing everything that you do as far as your hosting strategy. We got you in this episode. So what we'll do is we're going to start it off by answering the question of what is a podcast? What is podcast hosting? See, I told y'all I got to watch my words. We're going to go. All right.
So what is podcasting and why you need it? So if you want to think of it this way,
You said it too, but it's cool.
I said podcasting?
You said what is podcasting? Podcast hosting.
Okay. What is podcast hosting?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Yeah, run that beautiful bean footage. So what is podcast hosting and why is it something that you need? So if you want to think of it, this is the best way to simplify it. Podcast hosting is like renting space on the internet for your podcast episodes to live. You know, when you upload the episode to a hosting platform, that platform stores that audio file for you and it makes it accessible for your listeners to hear it. And they'll be able to hear it on various podcast apps or platforms like your Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, etc. And the thing about podcast hosting on their platform, the episode is always available 24/7, even when your own website isn't.
That's dope.
Mm-hmm.
That's like Spotify for artists.
Why we ain't just say, oh, is that a real thing? Because I was about to say, why we ain't say Apple Podcasts? You know, I think you just really felt like going to Spotify.
No, because I'm thinking from personal experience.
Okay.
So it's like, no, let me dial back. I'm wrong. That's like TuneCore and CD Baby. So what they allow you to do, and I'm pretty sure I said it in previous episodes, but it allows you to take your album, your single, and you upload it on this platform, and it just allows anybody, anywhere to listen. As a matter of fact, I mentioned it because I said that I had somebody in India listening to a couple of the songs off of one of the albums that I've done. So, and
it makes it accessible across the world, to your point. So anywhere in the world, you know, the World Wide Web is literally worldwide. And so being able to host it on one of these platforms, anybody can access it 24/7. You know, jumping into some fun facts about it, if you will. You know, firstly, I want to say that it ensures that your podcast episode is stored securely online and, again, accessed anytime. And the first fact is podcast hosting platforms use servers to store your audio file, preventing loss and ensuring playback reliability. You want to give another fact about that?
Without hosting, listeners cannot access your podcast. Keep that in mind. Consistently across different apps and devices. So you think about, let me see, Xbox gameplay. When you play from the cloud, there are certain games that you can play on a tablet, you can play on your phone, not just your Xbox, you can play on your computer as well. So it's kind of that, I don't know, maybe to me, maybe I'm going left a little bit, but it's kind of the same thing in that aspect. It just makes sure that you have access to it wherever you are. So let me see. It also provides listeners to your own website, getting on your website and listening to your stuff without having to use the bandwidth that comes with your website. Because I don't know who still has a bandwidth strand on a podcast, not a podcast, but on a website. But certain website, what do you call those, providers? They don't allow you to have but a certain amount of, I guess you can call it space, for lack of words.
Right. Yeah.
And once
the
you
bandwidth of it. Right.
Yeah. And once you go over it, I don't know what happens when you go over it.
But, that's why a lot of them are pushing more towards, you embedding videos from YouTube. And, even with these podcasts, you just embed your episode into it so that the stress is not on your actual website. The stress is on the podcast hosting platforms. So even when you blow up, one of your episodes go viral and, you just drop, not like us, you know what I'm saying? And 15 million people within 15 minutes want to come hear it. Those 15 million people are not going to make your site go down.
And that's a good thing, because if your site goes down and you had a song like Not Like Us, it's pretty much going to be not played by us.
Right.
Because when you get to that point, you done.
Exactly.
I never really, I guess because when I used to do websites, I ain't going to say never, but I know there was like a box where you could put certain amount of songs in there and they could only be a certain size, a certain file size.
Right.
And you couldn't upload waves. You had to upload an MP3. And by the time you upload that MP3 to their website, you were better off just going to the mall and selling CDs. Don't date me. Don't date me, because I know somebody out the CDs. Don't worry about it. Just, all right, I'm back.
Yeah,
now.
because we were selling 8 tracks out of our trunk.
Right.
I remember I did see an 8 track one time in life, and I was like, "What is that?" It was pretty cool.
Crazy thing. Again, I'm going on a side note. My uncle, he builds cars, and I ain't gonna say building, but he remodels, he rebuilds. He's got like a 85, 88 Cutlass, and this man is talking about putting a goldfish and a record player in the dash. You can date him. Right. Date him. Don't date me.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I just thought about that.
Please
with
take
the
pictures. 8-track. When he gets finished
when
with
he
that,
get
please
it
take
done,
pictures.
I'll take a picture of that. But the good thing too is the podcast hosting allows you to have distribution everywhere. And I'm pretty sure we've mentioned that too. Because if you don't have a way to, let me move this back a little bit. If you don't have distribution going everywhere, you kind of it's like an exclusive on PlayStation or Xbox or Nintendo. You can only play Mario on a Nintendo.
Yep.
And that's fine and dandy when you have a wide spread of what do you call those? Gamers. I was trying to find something fancy to say. I'm gonna just keep it simple today.
Gamers.
Yeah, gamers. When you have listeners, and we all don't have Apple, we all don't have Samsung, we all don't have Motorola. Some of us only have that what is that thing? Sirius XM, or that little what do you call that little box? I know what I'm trying to say. It's pretty much like an antenna that plugs into your cassette or your aux cable.
Oh, okay. I do now.
Yeah, that thing.
I was lost.
That thing. Because I'm visualizing, I'm trying to explain it. But I forgot where I was going with that.
My bad.
Oh, distribution.
Yes.
So you think if you don't have your stuff going everywhere, you're pretty much, for lack of words, shooting yourself in the foot. So make sure you're able to distribute everything across Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and whatever that channel is out there in India that I get listeners on. So,
So just diving in a little bit more of understanding the distribution, right? So, I mean, it's in the name. I pretty much, I'm sure we all know what distribution is, but think about it this way. When you get onto your hosting platform, right, your podcast hosting platform, what happens is you just one time upload your episode to your hosting platform. Now your host actually sends it out. It distributes it to each one of the platforms, your Apple Podcasts, your Spotify, your Amazon Music, all of that. So you just upload one time and then they do the rest of the work. With that though, now let's go into some of the requirements. Each one of these platforms has certain requirements. You have to have artwork, right? You have to have a album cover, if you will. So your podcast cover artwork, that's one requirement. You also have to have a description of what your podcast is. And it's a little bit of tweaking between platforms. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but like Spotify, they require one additional thing, and maybe there's one thing Apple Podcast requires that Spotify may not. But your hosting platform knows what each one of these channels, is that the word I'm looking for? Whatever. What's the word? Distribute. Each one, they know what the requirements are of each one. So what they're going to do is you have to meet those requirements on their website. Are you laughing at me, bro?
I'm laughing at both of us because we both sitting there like, what is that word?
What's the word? Jeez.
Yeah, that's all. That's all. Go ahead.
So
go ahead.
you know, they're going to make sure that you fulfill the requirements of every single one of the places, right? And then once you do, that's when they're like, all right, upload your file. Now we'll send it out to each one of them. You'll never have to worry about it.
So there's more than one. I was about to say platform hoster. There's more than one podcast hosting company. Mm-hmm. Is that company the
platform?
Right one?
Hosting platform. Mm-hmm.
So there's more than one. Yep. So to give you one of the ones that, well, not one of the ones, but the ones that we use is pretty much Buzzsprout.
Y'all need to sponsor us.
Yeah, Buzzsprout. You hear it right. All right. And how do you pronounce this other one? Is it Libsyn?
Some people say Libsyn. Some people say Libsyn. Still the same, tomato.
Libsyn, and I feel like they just left the C on. Why didn't you just call it lip sync?
Right.
Libsyn. Okay, I'm gonna leave them alone. and the other top three is what do you call it? Podbean. So with those three, consider the factors like storage limits, analytics, the ease of use for uploading your episodes, and how they distribute your podcast to different directories. Look for the one that fits your budget and your technical needs. So before we dive in, just to preface it, yeah, because it's preface, not preface. I found that out.
This is preface.
Yes, preface. Yes. So with that, I forgot where I was going. I'm gonna put it this way. Don't do more than what you need to do. Don't spend more than what you need to spend. And I think over the course of the next few episodes, even the ones that we've already done, you'll hear us say, stick within your budget. Don't put yourself in a space where you go broke. Try to become somebody, because a lot of people can and will do it. So ours is Buzzsprout, right? Mm-hmm. Their plans start at $12 a month with 250 gigs worth of storage monthly. So you know a little bit more about Buzzsprout. You know a little bit more about all of these, if I'm remembering correctly. But I know you know more about Buzzsprout. So can you hit on Buzzsprout?
Yeah, Buzzsprout, user-friendly. That's first and foremost what I think. They're one of the most user-friendly sites or hosting platforms out there, in my opinion. They do include detailed analytics and unlimited team members on a higher plan. So they have a free plan, they have a base plan, or the one that Tae just mentioned of $12 a month for 250 gigs. But then if you get a higher plan, or more business plan, you can add team members on there as well as you grow. So pretty much what I'm saying is they're scalable. You know, you can start out small if you're a one-person show, you know, and then you can scale up to an entire team and add people on there to help you to manage the hosting platform. I like also how they make it easy for you to see the analytics of every single one of the platforms that you're syndicated to. So, you know, if you want to compare or see how many listening to us on Apple Podcasts versus how many listen to us on Spotify, and see the demographics of each one of those listening platforms, I think that's pretty dope.
Yeah, that's pretty dope. Like even with, so in the research phase, I found out Libsyn is one of the oldest
OGs in the game. Mm-hmm.
Straight OG, triple OG.
Yep.
And they provide detailed analytics for as low as, I think it says starts at $5 a month. So they give you, the analytics that they give you include your download stats. It includes your audience demographics and your geographic data. Then it offers I can never get this word right. Monetization options through a premium subscription service, which is kind of like, I say if you put it in tiers, it's probably like tier 2, tier 3. That doesn't sound like the standard one from what I've seen. So them being as old as they are and still having the rate that low, and it sounds like they still offer some of the same stuff as Buzzsprout.
Right. That I think that some of their features, they don't have as many features as Buzzsprout or Podbean that we're going to talk about next. But yeah, that's how they're able to keep their pricing a little bit lower. But they do have the basic essentials that you need and some analytics and stuff. With them being OGs, of course, they've been in the game forever and they know how to do the podcast hosting. And then they're at a reasonable price of $5 a month, or starting at $5 a month. Got to say starting at, because then they'll come back and be like, you said it was $5. No, start it there.
No, get out the comments with that one, buddy. Get out the comments. Don't do us like that. Don't do it. We ain't gonna do it to ourselves.
So ain't gonna set ourselves up.
So Podbean, I like that name.
Yeah, it's very catchy. It is.
Very. I can't remember what that logo looks like, but I want to say it literally looks like a bean sprout.
That's Buzzsprout. Buzzsprout got the sprout.
Buzzsprout got the sprout, but I thought never mind.
Podbean got it's like a bean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about.
You said sprout.
No, it's got a. I'm okay. Maybe what do you call it?
You was trying to say bean sprout.
You know what? We just gonna leave it alone. We gonna leave that one alone. I'm not even going to go. I know it was green. If I'm remembering correctly, it was green, and they offer unlimited storage starting at $9 a month.
Now that's insane. That's insane. He just told y'all that Buzzsprout was $12 a month for 250 gigabytes. And now he's saying that Podbean offers unlimited storage starting at $9, which is $3 less. I'm about to go do some research and comparison shop here, you know.
So Podbean also integrates monetization tools. Do we get that with Buzzsprout? Because I haven't been in there yet.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, you do get monetization with Buzzsprout as well.
Okay. Yeah, so Podbean, their pricing includes scheduling episode drafts and custom domains. That's almost like almost like a website creation within Podbean, which is dope because CD Baby has something similar to that for artists.
Okay.
And they're like a one-stop shop. That's dope.
So with the customization, and I'm not sure about how Podbean does it, but with Buzzsprout, your website literally says buzzsprout.com/ and then they just give you some random number, kind of like YouTube and, your Facebook business page and stuff. And what you can do is, instead of that / and all those numbers, you can change those numbers to the name of your podcast. So now it makes it easier for people to remember. All they got to know is they got to put in buzzsprout.com/ Charlotte Podcast Studio, for instance, and I think Podbean is the same way. So you still will have to go to podbean.com, but then it's / Charlotte Podcast Studio or whatever. So that's that customization. And yes, the scheduling. Listen, anytime that we can schedule things and get things off our plate, we don't have to worry about it.
Right.
Record it today, and then, we know it's uploaded next week. Go ahead and schedule it today so you don't have to worry about it later. Those cool features makes life more simple. And remember, you're just uploading one time. So if you batch record some of your episodes, right? You record 3 episodes at a time. You could upload all 3 of those episodes. And if you release 1 episode per week, just schedule this one for, the second Tuesday of the month, schedule episode 2 for the 3rd Tuesday, schedule episode 3 for the 4th Tuesday, and your whole month is done. And you can walk away and go record more stuff. Yeah.
Or like I said in the previous episode, take a break. To
celebrate.
Take that break, man. But it's good knowing that you can just upload your stuff and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I like about YouTube. like my moto vlogging channel. Yeah, just gonna drop that in there. Shameless plug. you know. So with my motorcycle channel, I will go out and ride for anywhere between an hour or two. And that's enough footage, leaving home, going wherever I go and coming back. For me, that's enough footage for maybe a month or two.
Okay.
Including shorts that I would do 2 times a week. So yeah, batch record, schedule it, put it out. That's going to save you so much time, so much of a headache, and free up more time to do more batch recording. So after you figure out, once you look at those three, and I'm recommending those three. We're saying those three because they're trusted sites.
Mm-hmm.
They're not some of these knockoff sites where you may or may not get everything that you want. It's going to put you out there in a space where people can find you. Now, you're still going to have to do some marketing and promotion, and we'll get to that in another episode. But once you get to that point where you figure out which one you're going to go with, upload and distribute. I can never say, I'll be ready to say distribution, but that is not the right word. Upload and distribute your podcast episodes. So you want to go into that one?
Yeah, I kind of touched on it a little bit earlier, but just to brief on it again is, you're uploading your file to one place, your platform, right? You already have your artwork that's on there, your cover art for your podcast. What you want to do for that episode, similar to if you all are familiar with YouTube, you're going to title it. You're going to put a description on there and any creative tags that you want to attach to that particular episode. Once you fill all that out. Oh, and you can also fill out, there's a section for season 1, episode 4, and the beautiful thing is it keeps track of that too. Cause now that you're in there, it'll tell you right below that, hey, last episode you uploaded, you used number 5. Do you want to use number 6 this time? So it helps you keep track of that. But again, you put your title, description in there, season 1, what name the episode or number the episode as well. And then you post it, upload it, right? You can schedule it or you can have it published immediately. And then from there, that's when your hosting platform takes over and they send it out. They distribute it to all the platforms. And one thing that these platforms depend upon is an RSS feed. And do you want to tell the people what RSS stands for?
Crazy. Really simple syndication.
Absolutely.
Really simple.
Because people think that sounds so fancy, like, oh, RSS feed. Yes, it's really simple syndication.
And I think when I actually tried to figure this out a couple years ago, RSS has different meanings. But I decided for the sake of this podcast, that's the one we're going to go with. Because, again, we want you to keep everything simple.
Sir, ma'am.
Yeah, kiss them. So, so the RSS feed is an online file that contains details about every piece of content a site has published. So you think this is like a barcode. So you can track, like Walmart, they can track how many times this item has been purchased, how many are in the store, and how many have been returned. Now, of course, with RSS feed, I don't think anybody's returning a podcast feed or anything that can go into the website. But each time a site publishes a new piece of content, details about the content are automatically generated in the file and displayed in reverse chronological order. Reverse chronological. So that's pretty much like last to first.
Yep, you're absolutely right. So if you have 8 episodes contained in your season, episode 1 is going to be at the bottom, episode 8 is going to be at the top. So think about it. Each time you upload an episode, your newest episode is going to be on top of the previous episode.
And that's not bad because that's for, not that's for, but that comes in handy for your returning listeners.
Absolutely.
I was definitely about to say artists and customers, but it's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So going in that chronological order. So if I go listen to a podcast, like for instance, if somebody's listening to this one, they're going to see episode 10, of course, before they see episode 1. And for me, I know I was listening to a podcast Dang, I cannot remember what the name of it is, but it's KB from HGA, Christian hip hop guy, and him. I mean, they're in like season 3 or 4 by the time I got on there, and it's like, whoa, I'm behind, and it starts playing the latest episode. Now, granted, of course, it was a good episode, but me being the person I am, it's like you don't start the blacklist in the middle. You don't start a season in the middle when you have Netflix or Hulu. You know, so it's good for those that are returning to go right back to where they left off. But it also lets the new listeners know, like, hey, you might be listening to this one, but you know, we've got seasons upon seasons worth of episodes.
Now listen, I don't know about you. That's a great and important thing to me because it resonates. I don't know about you or these people watching. I like to binge. I don't watch TV that much. But when I do, I go on Netflix, and when I sit there and go on Netflix and find something to watch, the first thing I'm doing is how many episodes they got, how many seasons do they have, how many parts do they have? Because I'm not about to get invested in this thing and it's only 4 episodes. if you got at least 5+ seasons, that's going on my watch list.
Yeah, like me and the wife, we just started watching Designated Survivor, and I was like,
I love that. I'm sorry.
We're in season 1.
I ain't gonna say nothing, but I love it.
Don't ruin it for us. We just started it a couple weeks ago. We're almost done with. I can't even say if we're almost done with season 1. I think last episode we watched was like episode 12, season 1. That's like 3 or 4 seasons.
It's 4. Yeah, I think 4. But yeah, listen, it's gonna go like that. That's all I'm saying. I'm sorry.
And
but yeah, that's good.
And it's a good thing you said that, because the more and more you record these podcasts, that's pretty much how you should be. You should be taking off. You should be skyrocketing. Once you get out the nervous jitters, like we said in an episode before, you get out the nervous jitters and you take that break to celebrate and you start doing your batch recording, you should be good.
You should put that on a shirt.
I don't even know what I said.
Take that break to celebrate. It needs to go on a shirt.
You know what? We should do that.
Yeah.
We're going to make some shirts. Check for pre-orders soon. I don't know how soon, but check for pre-orders. We got you. So that RSS feed, it really helps with everything, because you can copy and paste your RSS feed on your website or wherever you decide to place it. And with that, you don't have to copy every episode. You don't have to place every episode. You are pretty much giving people, again, this one link to all your stuff. What's the word? Simultaneously?
Yep. Simultaneously.
That's the word I'm looking for. So yeah.
So that's the thing. So they give you your Buzzsprout, or well, again, that's what we use. That's why I keep saying them. But your podcast hosting platform, they give you a website. Your podcast website, you can personalize it, put your artwork on there, your graphics and everything. You can customize the domain name like we just said. But when you send that site out to people and share it with them, that site is going to have, your whole synopsis of what your podcast is about. And then all the episodes are listed in reverse chronological order. But then the beautiful part about it is, the thing that I think that is the most dope is that they'll have an icon for each one of the listening platforms. And let's say that you prefer Spotify, you just click on the Spotify thing, and then your episode is automatically going to open up in Spotify. So,
oh, wow.
It makes it easy for them, and it makes it easy for you if you want to share your podcast website on social media, and then anybody can go there. They can see all the platforms that you're streaming to. It just makes everything convenient for you and for your listener.
And that's pretty dope. So even with that, make sure you check your analytics, because your analytics will help you determine the demographics, your popular episodes, and your growth trends. So knowing what episodes you have that are popular lets you know what your listeners are really looking for, or where new listeners are, not where, but what new listeners are coming to your podcast for. So let's go back and let's talk about these cats. I don't really know what to say about this, but it's the thing of somebody's wanting to listen to cats. But if you switch that episode to dogs and then another one to spiders, and you realize that your cat episodes are more, what's the word, trending, go back to cats.
Go talk about them cats, please.
Meow, meow. Go back. Go back to the cats. Just pay attention to your analytics. Don't be one of those people that are sitting there like, yeah, well, I'm doing a podcast. I don't care who's listening. I don't care what so-and-so says or does, da-da-da-da-da. Make sure you pay attention. That way you're not wasting your time, because that right there is one of the quickest ways for anybody on any platform to just drop. And that's what you don't want to do. These podcast hosting platforms, they're there to help you grow. They're here. They're there. They are here to help you understand what people are coming to your what's the word? I want to say channel. We'll say channel. Mm-hmm. They're coming to you for something specific. Pay attention to the analytics. Figure out what they're coming to you for and capitalize on that. So if you have a food channel and a lot of people are wanting to know how to do organic stuff, stick with the organics compared to what you ate at McDonald's. I think that pretty much
that's that up. Yeah. I do want to drop you all a little nugget in here as well, is that, podcasting, it is a great way to build community. Mm-hmm. So whatever your passion is or whatever you like to do or talk about, you'll build community around that. So to Tae's point of looking at the analytics and everything, then you can take it even further from that. And then to that point of monetization, which I'm sure we'll get into in different episodes, but building that community is key in monetizing your podcast. You can even have a paid subscription for them and things like that. And then at that point, now you're personally engaging with them. They can talk to you. They can let you know some of the feedback and everything, and it'll help. But we'll go down that road in another episode. So yeah, with this in summarization, is that a word? I feel like, I just made up that word in this dancery. Ain't no hateration, bro.
It sounds good to me. I believe it is a word. I would ask. I can't even say her name because she'll start talking.
She'll talk and won't stop. Please don't say her name. Listen, it's important to choose a podcast hosting platform and make sure it's the right one that fits your needs and your budget. We gave you the top 3, which was Buzzsprout, Libsyn, and Podbean.
Yep.
But, go do your research, go look around and see which one, works best for you.
Do that research.
Mm-hmm.
Scale everything to your budget. We've said it before. We're saying it now. And I can guarantee you, we will say it again. Do what you want to do, need to do, have to do based on your budget. Don't go out here and spend $5,000.
Tay, quit preaching to these people. Tay always want to preach to y'all.
You right. My bad. Look, I'm gonna say this. Don't try to spend $5,000 if you ain't got 500. Don't try to spend 500 if you barely got 5. Do what you can when you can. Make sure you go through your hosting platforms. Figure out which one works best for you. But do us all a favor. Do yourself a favor, more importantly. Do not go with an unknown name. Don't do it. Don't do it. For the love of everything.
The doors of the church are now open. So yes. I want to thank you listeners for tuning in. Please make sure you subscribe. Hit that like button. That like button is Tae's collection plate. So please hit that like button and share it with others. And we can't wait to come back with another video to give y'all more podcasting tips and industry insights. So tell them who you are, brother.
I'm Tae, studio manager here at Charlotte Podcast.Studio.
And I'm Shamar, Tae's trusty sidekick, and we're going to catch you in the next one. Peace. Deuce.